Welcome to Kicks and Minivans, a podcast for dads who love sneakers. I am your host, KG. However you're watching and listening, and we thank you for tuning in, hanging out with us, being with us for a little bit. The Kicks of the Week this week, we are in mid-May. Today, the day this episode is releasing is our 9-year anniversary, mid-May wedding, May 16th. And with that always comes the coming around of summer. You are fully in spring mode. You have to take care of the lawn. The summertime's coming, ready to open up the pools. And so Kicks of the Week this week is my favorite summertime sneaker. It is the Jordan 1 Low Arctic Punch. If you are just listening and not watching on YouTube, it is white with pink and purple pastel color type Johns. It is the only pair of Jordan 1 Lows that I own. And yes, if you're looking on YouTube, they are a little dirty. I have not cleaned them up from last summer and all the wear they got. Because when you're a dad, you choose what you suck at. And lately, I've been choosing it to suck at keeping up with my sneakers. That's buying new sneakers, cleaning my sneakers. I've just sucked at it lately. I need to clean these things up before summer gets too heavy. But this is a favorite pair of summertime sneakers for me. I wear them all the time. These get heavy in the rotation, especially like May and June. They get heavy in the rotation there. I love this pair. Again, only pair of Jordan 1 Lows that I own, but man, they look sweet with a pair of shorts. They're fantastic. I absolutely love these. But hey, with it being our anniversary, our 9-year anniversary, we've been together for 12 years, married for 9. 3.5 of that was long distance, believe it or not. I do not miss those days. Never want to go back to those days. But with it being our anniversary, I think when you get married, or even when you are married and, you know, been married a while, people might ask you like, well, how did you know that he was the one? How did you know that she was the one? And you get a lot of like, well, when you know type answers. And that to a degree is true. That sometimes it's like, you just know, you just have this different feeling that this person is the one. Whether you believe in soulmates or not. And I don't know if I believe in soulmates or not. I do believe that Becky was designed specifically to be my wife. I believe that I was designed to be her husband. And so do I believe in soulmates? I don't know. Because I think if two people are committed to each other, whether they're soulmates or not, I believe that you can make it work. You can have a great marriage. But I do believe like what me and my wife have is special. I believe that wholeheartedly. I love being married. Being married to her is my favorite thing in the world. But when people ask me like, well, how did you know that she was the one? It was more than just when you know, because there was something different about her. There was something different and unique about her from all the other girls I dated. And it was one thing primarily. There was a lot of things. There was a lot of things about her that were like, she's the one, you know. But there was one thing in particular about her that made me stop and be like, yo, she's different. And she's wifey material. And that was, she is the only girl I had ever dated that fully accepted me for me. She was the only girl I ever dated that didn't try to change who I was. Like there's different parts of me that like might not like all make sense. Like in a certain way, like I'm a super sports nerd. Like I love sports. I love playing ball. I love watching basketball, football, baseball, like any sport. If it's on the TV, like I will watch it, not soccer or hockey. So not any sport. But like, you know, the big ones, the manly ones, I will watch those. I will sit there. I would watch every NBA playoff game if I didn't have a family. Like straight up, I would watch every NBA playoff game. Even though the Sixers are out, I would watch every single NBA playoff game if I didn't have a family, straight up. There were girls that I had dated before that hated the fact that I love basketball so much. Like they're like, you got to pipe that down. My wife is texting me. All these alerts that you are hearing go off is because my wife is texting me while I'm trying to record a podcast. But that's okay. We love her and there's grace. But there were girls that I had dated before that hated the fact that I was so into sports. Another part of me is that I have like this nerdy side. Like I like Pokemon, I like Star Wars, I like superhero stuff. Like superheroes have become like cooler now with the MCU being as big as it is and stuff. My wife is really sending me a lot of text message right now. Like superheroes are a lot cooler, but like 10, 15 years ago, they weren't as cool as they was now. Like the Batman trilogy with Christian Bale was like, you know, that had like just come out. That was fresh still. But the superheroes wasn't like as cool back then as it is now. But like I've always loved superheroes. Like I have this nerdy side that like girls that I've dated hated that nerdy side of me. And then it's like I have like this hood side of me, I guess, that I've dated girls that have hated that. Like, why don't you wear more polos? Stop wearing so many hats and baggy clothes. Back when, you know, everyone was rocking the baggy clothes. That was the style. That was the in. Like I was the white boy wearing all that stuff, right? Um, but like I dated girls that hated that. Like try to put me in I hate polo shirts, bro. I don't mind button ups when the occasion calls for it. You know, like I'll wear a button up to a wedding. I'll wear button ups, right? But I hate polos. Like polos just are not my thing. I can't pull off a polo. It looks terrible on me. But like I dated girls that insisted I wear polos all the time. And like I hated polos. And then I have like this childish side of me, right? And like that goes with the nerdy side, but like I was a kids pastor for a number of years, right? But I had dated girls that hated the fact that like I had this childish side of me. Becky is the only person I've dated that embraced all of that. That didn't try to change who I was. That didn't try to manipulate me or gaslight me into being who she thought I should be. She just allowed me to be me. At the same time, the flaws in my character, she slowly and gently but effectively drew my attention to what I needed to work on. Right? The fact that I like superheroes and basketball and Star Wars and, you know, like rap music and like all those parts of my, like that's just like my personality. That's just what I like. That's just like who I am. But like my character, there's a difference between trying to change someone's personality and trying to change their character, because there were parts of my character that needed a lot of work when I met Becky. There's parts of my character today that still need a lot of work. But if you think I need work today, you should have seen me 12 years ago. There are parts of my character that needed work. My personality, she left alone. She embraced that. My character, she slowly, yet gently, yet effectively drew my attention to parts of me that I needed to grow and develop. And loved me exactly where I was, but also loved me enough to help me change and grow as a man into who I could be and should be. Right? Like I used to be the most blunt person in the world. And it still comes out sometimes. Like we were lifting the other day on Mother's Day, right? Becky wanted to get up at 5 a.m. and lift legs on Mother's Day. So I got up and we lifted legs at 5 a.m. Squatted, lunges, leg extensions, all that. And we ended our workout with the Bulgarian split squats. And if you know, you know. These things are torture. This is like the single workout movement that I hate the most. Like it hurts so bad, yet kind of good sort of thing. But the split squats, right? And so we're ending leg day, ending split squats. And I remember it was the very last set I had just finished because I'm re-racking my weights, right? And my wife is getting like, she's getting fit, bro. Back in like October, she was like, yeah, I want to like start working out with you and start eating like you and tracking and all that kind of stuff. And like, yo, wifey getting strong, bro. Wifey getting, like she fit, bro. And it's like her legs are like rock hard. Like she got muscles popping, like she getting strong. And she was saying something, as I'm finishing my last set of split squats and re-racking my weights. She go, and yo, I don't think my wife fat. Like my wife is not fat. Like she never was fat. Like, when she started paying attention to her fitness and stuff, she lost about 10 pounds, but like that's about all she had to lose. And that was like right after the baby. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think my wife's fat at all. But she said something. She was like, she said, I just want to know how to get my abs as hard as my legs are. Cause like her legs are like rock hard. Like her legs are like solid muscle, bro. Like, she's unbelievable. And what blurted out of my mouth was just the fact. She was like, I want to know how to get my abs as hard as my legs. And I was like, well, you got to lose the fat first. And that just blurted out of my mouth at like 6 a.m. on Mother's Day. Just, because like I'm re-racking my weights. I just finished my last set of split squats. I'm exhausted. I'm tired. My legs are screaming at me. And she like didn't even ask a question. She posed a statement, but I had the actual response to that. It was like there was nothing wrong about what I said. But I just like blurted out like, well, you got to lose the fat first. Um, that's not what you say to your wife. Especially like she ain't fat, you know. Like I got a little bit of belly fat on my stomach. Like I'm good with that. Like if you've ever had like ripped abs, like it's actually miserable to keep up with that. So like I ain't trying to do that, but like it I that's what I blurted out. Um my wife laughed about it, right? Like we cool, we cool. Well, like, she ain't she ain't mad at me. But that is an example of the level of bluntness that I used to just walk around every day with. Like that is a rare occurrence for me to be that blunt with somebody these days. But that was like my regular MO 12, 15 years ago. Was I was just blunt. Like I'm gonna tell you what you need to know, when you need to know it, exactly what you need to know, exactly what I think you should do based on my world experience as an 18-year-old. Like I just I used to be an extremely blunt person because I thought like, hey, if I speak the truth to you, then that's loving. But the whole speaking the truth in love, like I was missing horribly on that. And not realizing if you don't do that, then people may not actually hear you. Um, Becky, as an extremely empathetic person, is the single reason why my empathy has grown so much over the last decade. Where now I consider myself to be a fairly empathetic person. I know I could still grow in that area. But that is an area of my character, my empathy, my lack of empathy was a huge character flaw of mine a decade ago. Whereas now I almost feel like it's becoming a little bit of a strength, being able to understand the other person's perspective, understand where other people are, put myself in their shoes, be able to speak in a way that they can hear and understand. Like that is becoming a strength of mine as opposed to it was a glaring weakness of mine. But that is an example of like Becky didn't try to change my personality, but over the course of time, she slowly yet gently and effectively helped me develop parts of my character that were lacking. And I would hope that the same is true for her, that I've accepted her. Like I love my wife for who she is. I love her for everything that she is, all the parts of her personality. Like I absolutely love her. I embrace her. And above all else, when she is with me, above all else, I hope she feels safe with me. If my wife can feel anything with me, I hope she feels safe with me because I feel safe with her. And when you feel safe with someone, you can be your full self with that person. When you feel safe and know that you will be loved and accepted no matter what. And I ain't never felt safe with a woman before outside of her. That, like, you asked me how I knew she was the one, I felt safe with her. And so to so so a word to the married people and then to the single people. We're gonna do married people first because that's the key demographic of our podcast that we target is married people. We want to help married men win in marriage and parenting. Does your wife feel safe with you? That's a loaded question. Does your wife feel like she can be her full self when she is around you, when she is with you? Does she feel like she can be her full self without judgment, without criticism, without anger? Does she feel safe when she is with you? My wife will come home sometimes and she'll hear stories, whether people she knows or stuff in the news. She will hear stories and like she will say something to this effect, like at least once or twice a month. I just can't imagine if I didn't feel safe with you. Like she'll say something to that effect at least once or twice a month that I can't imagine if I didn't feel safe with you because there was a story in the news about a man that physically abused his wife and kids. Or something along those lines. And it's like you see headlines like this all the time, especially like with pro athletes. Like this happens to be in the headlines all the time. And my wife will say something to that effect of like, I'm so thankful I feel safe with you. I can't imagine if I didn't feel safe with you. And God deal with me, be it ever so severely. And may my homies deal with me ever so severely if my wife does not feel safe with me. If there ever comes a time where I abuse my wife in any sort of way, may God deal with me however he sees fit. Because above all else, what I want is for my wife to feel safe with me. And so if you are a husband listening, make sure above all else your wife feels safe with you. Above all else, wives, make sure your husband feels safe with you. Husbands need to feel safe too. I feel so safe with my wife that I can open up to her. I've never been able to open up and be vulnerable truly with a woman the way that I can with my wife. Because there was always this fear of criticism that they're not going to accept me for who I am. But my wife, I know, accepts me and loves me for who I am, for the successes and the failures, for the good and the bad. My wife loves me and accepts me, and I feel safe with her. And so, if you are married, does your spouse feel safe with you? And if there is a flaw that needs correcting, something that needs adjusting in their character, if they feel safe with you, then you will have the freedom and the ability to help them recognize and grow and develop in that area. But they have to feel safe with you. And a word to the single people listening. If you are dating somebody, how do you feel when you are with that person? I think we put a lot of emphasis on the checklist and the boxes that we got to check off when we're looking for a spouse. Do they make this much money? Are they this tall? Do they weigh this little? Do they whatever? How do you feel when you with that person? And look, I ain't just talking about like, oh, they make me feel giddy like a little schoolboy or schoolgirl. Like I ain't talking about all that. But like, do you feel safe when you're with them? Do you feel like you could be yourself when you're with them? Do you feel like they will accept you for who you are when you are with them? Because no matter how good they look, that can change. No matter how much money they make, that can change. But how you feel when you're with that person is a huge indicator to their character. And their character can grow and develop and change over the course of time. But ultimately, if you feel safe when you are with that person, that could be a great sign, a green flag to build a relationship and move forward with that person. Above all else, the thing that set Becky apart for me is she accepted me for who I was. And because of that, I felt safe when I was with her. I felt at home when I was with her. And I knew that building a home and a life with her would be a place where I could feel safe, where we could raise kids that could feel safe. And so, I would never choose someone else over her. Does that make us soulmates? I don't know, man. Maybe soulmates are real, maybe they're not. But for me, I know that this woman makes me feel safe in a way that no other woman I had dated before had been able to do. And because of that, I am thankful and I am glad that I chose her and I said I do 9 years ago, and I will keep saying I do every single day. I will choose her and I will choose to make sure that she feels safe when she is with me. You do the same for your spouse and your home and your kids. I love you guys. Until next time, take care of yourself, take care of your family. This is Kicks and Minivans.